Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. So Bitcoin looks to have successfully reclaimed $114,000 as support, this coming from Rect Capital. In doing so, Bitcoin is one step closer to fully resynchronizing with the range, and you guys can see that in there. Okay, so one step closer to ending the downside deviation. On the longer time frame, it's very clear we are making higher lows here. He also says it is one step closer to ending the corrective phase altogether. Guys, this is an amazing setup for Bitcoin. We have just seen nothing but a consistent move to the upside. This is Bitcoin on the daily, and even though Bitcoin is down a little bit today, let me throw that on the hourly chart. Overnight, we did see a big Bitcoin surge all the way up to about $117,000 per coin. Right up there, but we did get rejected over the last few hours. Now we have seen Bitcoin kind of tumbling down, but tumbling down on low volume. We are seeing higher volume for buyers. So guys, this is very positive news for Bitcoin. If we continue seeing this grind to the upside, hopefully we can crack that important nut up there, the all-time high for Bitcoin in and around $124,000 per coin, 124.5 actually. So now we are butting up against former resistance in here, or rather former support, which has turned into former resistance. It is now currently former resistance, so we do have to get up above that with conviction. And then it is that level there, $124,000, and that is likely going to spur on the euphoria phase of this market. You guys can see fear and greed is at 51. We've got the market cap still up above $4 trillion, so that's a good psychological level, I think, for a lot of these newbie traders, institutional traders. I mean, everybody feeds on the numbers. Altcoin season is at 68, and we're seeing a mix of green and red, albeit there is more green in the market today than there is red. That's also positive news there. And the altcoin season index just hit a 90-day peak on Sunday, as ETF tracking XRP and Doge are expected to launch this week. This coming from Dr. Martin Hisbach here. So we're expecting these ETFs to come very soon. Today is going to be the announcement of if the Fed decides to cut rates or not. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that later today. This is the altcoin season chart, guys, and as you guys can see, altcoin season up in full effect. But we do still have to get confirmation. We do have to get some confirmation from some of these ETF providers that this is a go. And, a lot of that is going to happen next month. Let's bring up XRP here on the chart. And as you guys can see, XRP just following Bitcoin right now. A bit of a retracement for XRP, but XRP has also been just grinding slowly to the upside. We did recently see a high for XRP a few days ago now of about $3.18. So, XRP also one of those cryptocurrencies that we're eyeing very closely, of course. And the two critical levels for XRP holders at the moment, the former all-time high from 2018, which was in and around $3.38. It's not a perfect number there, but then the brand new all-time high in and around $3.65, $3.66 per coin. So those are the next two levels for XRP to really get up above. And I think we're going to see this push with the Bitcoin push. I'm really just kind of waiting for that. Crypto Russ here posting this. Okay, we talked about Dan Morehead in yesterday's video. He's been doing the rounds. He tells Bloomberg he doesn't believe Congress will ever say anything negative about crypto ever again. Listen to this.
We saw how much things changed from one administration to another administration. What's that to say that the next administration that gets in could respond to, let's say, some event that happens in markets and that calls for investor protections and really crack down on the crypto industry and really change the regulations?
Sure. I think the very important point is presidents do come and go, but Congress changed radically in this election. For whatever reason, there were a bunch of Congress people that were negative on crypto, which I've never really understand. Who's the no voter on crypto? Where there are 50 million Americans that love crypto and they're single issue voters. So in this previous election cycle, our industry participated in 58 Senate and House
spent a lot
elections
of money.
And won 54 of them. And so it is my professional opinion there's never going to be a negative thing said by Congress again.
It's pretty confident, but I guess he is a professional and he would know best. They've been working very hard to get to where they are today. And it is interesting to also note this from Eleanor Turch. She also thinks this is very interesting. Remember when the House voted not to include the Anti-CBDC bill in the Clarity Act back in July in favor of putting it into the defense bill spending instead? Well, guys, they've changed their mind. Now they've just voted to retroactively combine it back into the Clarity Act before sending it over to Senate. So this is what she's talking about here. House GOP moves to combine central bank digital currency ban with the crypto bill. And guys, this is good. They're looking to ban central bank digital currencies, and they're going to include that in this upcoming crypto bill. They want to put this in a sweeping bipartisan cryptocurrency market structure bill after both bills passed a chamber separately in July. The House is set to vote Tuesday afternoon on a procedural measure that includes a little notice provision that would combine the CBDC ban bill and the Clarity Act, which would overhaul how crypto tokens are regulated. The CBDC measure, led by the Majority House Whip Tom Emmer, passed the lower chamber largely along party lines in July, while the sweeping market structure bill drew support from 78 Democrats, a whopping 78. At the time the two measures passed the House, though, Republicans on the Financial Service and Agricultural Committees objected to combining them on the floor. A push from the GOP hardliners, though, to merge the two bills created a protracted standoff on the floor. The committee leaders didn't want to jeopardize the bipartisan support for the Clarity Act in hopes of sending a message about its viability to the Senate. So it looks as though we've got some details here about that. Here's a quote by Senator Cynthia Lummis. By combining both measures and sending them to the Senate, the House continues to advance both priorities. That's from Brooke Nethercott. We stand ready to work with the banking chair, Tim Scott, said Senator Cynthia Lummis, on a pathway forward to get both provisions signed into law. So both Democrats and Republicans are on board with this. Eleanor Turd did also comment. I asked a couple of Hill sources if this was a big deal, and the broad response was that it really doesn't change anything, as the Senate is working on its own bill, which included anti-CBDC language anyway. And a spokesperson for the House said this. Okay, this is what French Hill said. By combining both measures and sending them to the Senate, the House continues to advance both priorities. Okay, so this is the quote that I read just in that paper. We stand ready to work with Chair Scott and Senator Cynthia Lummis on a pathway forward to get both provisions signed into law. It is good to see that, we're still moving forward. Both parties are still on the same page here. And, it's a coincidence that this is happening, or rather that it did happen just yesterday, just 30 minutes ago from when I was doing my research. The World Economic Forum did just recently post this, as you guys can see here, from 30 minutes ago. They just posted this, how the U.S. Genius Act and the EU's MiCA signal transatlantic convergence on new crypto rules. So we are seeing how important this is going to be for not just the United States, but how this is going to affect crypto markets worldwide. So the passage of the Genius Act in July, the landmark bipartisan U.S. stablecoin law providing long-needed regulatory clarity for crypto markets, has ignited fresh debate in the EU about the risks such developments may pose to the bloc. Policymakers are voicing concerns over monetary and payment system sovereignty, as well as raising questions as to whether the EU's far-reaching 2023 crypto market crypto asset regulation, or the MiCA regulations, is fit for purpose to avoid global regulatory arbitrage. So there is, still a question about this. There is more harmonization between MiCA and the newly passed Genius Act than first meets the eye. This should assure EU regulatory and prudential authorities, including the European Central Bank, that the U.S. Congress did not take a very different approach. So basically, they're looking at this and they're saying, okay, can we live with this? Can we work together with this? For example, U.S. regulated stablecoins are now treated as peers to electronic money, bearing the designation payment stablecoins under the Genius Act. This mirrors the EU's e-money token regime. And, I feel like these guys would have had to have discussed this before, drafting up a bill. I'm sure they did collaborate with their, or at least consult their counterparts overseas. On both sides of the Atlantic, regulated stablecoin issuers must also hold reserves in a conservative 1-to-1 ratio. So, of course, all these have to be backed. This is why the RLUSD is going to be so popular moving forward. Both Genius and MiCA entitle crypto holders to the right of redemption at par, and that's exactly what we want and what we need. We want these stablecoins to be redeemable. We want them to be backed by something. They have to be as good as a U.S. dollar, if it is, in fact, a U.S. dollar denominated stablecoin. And so, the World Economic Forum is just essentially just stating this in a very verbose article here. So there you guys go. On top of which, we have Google unveiling open source protocols for AI payments with stablecoin support. So now that Google is getting on board, guys, is this becoming more mainstream? Google's AI payment protocol was developed in collaboration with Coinbase, signaling crypto's growing role in powering the AI-driven digital economy. Boom goes the dynamite. I think, with Google here, this is going to, reach out to many more people. Google has unveiled an open source protocol that allows AI applications to send and receive payments, including transactions using stablecoins, highlighting the growing role of dollar-pegged cryptocurrencies in an emerging AI-driven web. So think of this for a second. Google is now using AI protocols to help payments incorporate stablecoins. This all on the heels of us seeing this becoming regulated in the United States. Of course, this is obviously coordinated. The initiative is being launched in partnership with Salesforce, American Express, and more than 60 other companies. Stablecoin functionality was developed in collaboration with the crypto exchange Coinbase, so a big partner there in the United States. One of the engineers here at Coinbase said the exchange worked with Google to make their payment systems interoperable. We're working to figure out how to make AI transmit value to each other. So that's what they told Fortune. So Google is doing its part to make transactions in stablecoins interoperable, and they're using AI agents to do so. Very, very interesting developments here when it comes to money and the new financial system, the transmission of, stablecoins using this type of technology. Stablecoins may prove to be the most impactful crypto use case for AI agents, emerging just as both technology gains broader mainstream adoption. So they mentioned the mainstream adoption here. These dollar-pegged tokens recently received a regulatory boost in the US with the Genius Act. And so none of this would be happening, I don't think, without the Genius Act in place. So there we have now Google making waves. And this is the thing, right? We said as soon as the floodgates open, we are going to see a barrage of information, a barrage of news coming out. And this is now exactly what we're seeing. So guys, cryptocurrency adoption around the corner. And for more information on how I'm treating this particular bull market, you can follow me at patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. It is only $5 a month if you want to pick my brain. I do have my DMs open there. I do host live Q&As too, and I try to update regularly over there. I'm going to be posting a few more updates very, very soon over there at patreon.com/workingmoneychannel, basically opening up not just my crypto portfolio, but other investments that I've made as well, letting people know where my sell targets are for all my cryptocurrencies. That's the most exciting thing, I think. Pinpointing the top of the market. I think that's what we're all trying to gauge right now. So patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. And looky who's back. BitBoy Crypto is weighing in on XRP. Is it the next Bitcoin? And the answer that he gives here, I don't know. On the one hand, I kind of agree. On the other hand, I don't know. On a general note, it says here, BitBoy argued that XRP could indeed become the next Bitcoin. However, he highlighted that it is important to define what it really means for XRP to be the next Bitcoin. And guys, that's where the philosophical question is. I wanted to thank Mac Attack XRP. I guess I should thank everybody here, like Eleanor Turret, Crypto Russ, Dr. Martin Hisbach, and of course, Rect Capital for that. But let's go back to this. Okay, is XRP the next Bitcoin? Well, guys, here is the video clip from the BitBoy, Ben Armstrong. Listen to this.
Can XRP become the next Bitcoin? That was an article that I read today that didn't really give a clear answer, but I think the clear answer is a resounding yes and no, and we'll get into what that means. First of all, you got to determine what you mean when you say, can it be the next Bitcoin? Are we talking about it being the #1 cryptocurrency in the world? Because I think there is a chance that it could surpass Bitcoin one day. Or are we saying it's better than Bitcoin? Or are we saying that it matches up against all different kinds of sectors against Bitcoin and beats it in all kinds of ways? Well, it definitely beats it in speed, but there are a lot of places it doesn't beat it at, and it doesn't have a chance to catch it, which would be something like decentralization. Ripple is more centralized than Bitcoin, and it's not even close, or XRP is, because Ripple is the company that owns it.
First of all, that's incorrect. As you guys all know, XRP is decentralized. Ripple does not control XRP. I mean, they do hold XRP in escrow, but they cannot actually control the cryptocurrency itself. So I just wanted to clear that up for anybody who did not know that already.
They control a huge amount of the supply as well. And when you look at the supply numbers, also there XRP cannot compete with Bitcoin. But when you look at narratives, and you look at narratives for what XRP could become, I think you actually start looking and saying, wow, maybe there is a chance for it to catch Bitcoin one day. Because with all of these treasuries going around, everybody putting their treasury in Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana now, the thing is all that stuff is fleeting compared to the entire banking system. Ripple, make no mistake about it, Ripple is aiming for the entire banking system. They want all their banks using XRP. It used to be that you could have a partnership with Ripple and use some of their products and you didn't have to own XRP. That's going all the way back to 2017, 2018. Well, at some point in the last several years, they changed that where now you do have to actually hold XRP to use the XRP ledger in their products. So another thing we talked about the other day, if you were watching the show, was XRP versus the SWIFT network. The SWIFT network is the international money transfer service that when you send to an overseas bank account, it has to go through SWIFT. SWIFT is a messaging system. It takes 5 to 7 business days in many cases to get your to actually transfer the money via SWIFT. And when you look at XRP, I think it's like 7 to 30 seconds. So it's so much more efficient than any other product out there. And you got to think, if the banks are able to adopt XRP, which I think is a huge possibility, then I think XRP can compete with Bitcoin. Let's look at some other numbers really quick, I think, that are very interesting. It was forever, right? Forever, when people would talk about this could catch this, I would go and be able to say, wow, look, Ethereum is closer to Bitcoin than anything else is to Ethereum. It was about a 3x away from Bitcoin for a lot of its life when it was up, near 20% dominance and things like that. So when you look at those numbers and then you look at the fact that for the first time that I've seen, I haven't been looking at the numbers every single day and processing it in this way, but for the first time over the last several months, when Ripple finally hit that jump up to $3, it is closer to Ethereum than Ethereum is to Bitcoin. So it's only a 3x away from Ethereum, whereas Bitcoin is a 4x away from Ethereum. So it's very interesting to see. I think maybe I said that wrong. It's a 3x to catch Ethereum, and then Ethereum is a 4x now to catch Bitcoin. Those are approximate numbers; they're not exact.
I find that an interesting metric, actually. Ever since XRP did come up to that $3 mark here, I'm just going to stop that clip, and this is the historical coin market cap list. So as we're seeing, actually, that's today. Maybe I should go back a few years in the past. When we were seeing this kind of discrepancy here, remember Ethereum, okay, so I just took a random snapshot here from February of 2022 when Ethereum, the market cap was at $314 billion. Compare that to Bitcoin at $728 billion. So you just kind of divide that. Let's just do that real quick just to show you guys where Ethereum was in conjunction. So it was 2.3x away from Bitcoin. And you compare that to all the other cryptocurrencies here, and they were way, way, way further away. XRP being 37 billion. So if I just bring that up one more time, comparing that. So 314. So from Ethereum divided by 37, that was 8.4 or almost 8.5 away, 8.5x away from Ethereum. So as to BitBoy's point, you look at what's going on today though, and you guys can see Ethereum further away to Bitcoin now. This is according to BitBoy's numbers here. I don't actually know if that is the case today specifically. Let's just look at that. So now Ethereum is further away. We're seeing it at 4.2 times. So before it was 2 to 3x away. Now it's over 4x away. And you compare that to XRP. Let's just compare that real quickly here. 3x away. So XRP closer to Ethereum than Ethereum is to Bitcoin, and XRP is leading the charge.
But that gives me a lot of confidence knowing that XRP is catching up to Ethereum. I think definitely there's a good chance that it can pass Ethereum, but Ethereum's got all this institutional DeFi stuff going as well. So at the end of the day, you just have to look and see that XRP has performed very strong against Bitcoin lately, but it's done even better against Ethereum. It is making moves on Ethereum. In 2019, I believe it was, XRP passed Ethereum for a brief amount of time and then went back. I think that was the first time since Ethereum basically was released that anything caught it. So when we're asking this question, I guess really what it boils down to is XRP a better investment than Bitcoin? And I gotta say, I would say yes, it is. If you told me right now that I could either own 1 Bitcoin or I could own the amount of XRP that it would take to be equivalent to that, I would take the XRP every time. I know a lot of people are big strong believers in Bitcoin, and I am as well. But I just think it's got so much more juice in the tank. There's so much more in XRP to be excited about for the future. The SWIFT banking system, and this of course is not even taking into consideration a possible IPO by Ripple, which we all know is going to happen. And also XRP getting its own ETF, which is going to happen in the next couple of months. Supposedly, I think it's going to.
By the way, there's no confirmation that there's an IPO that is going to happen. Brad Garlinghouse has said, we're going to cool down on that idea for a bit. Ripple is very successful as is, and they do not need external funds to keep the business rolling. And also, BitBoy says one ETF. There's going to be multiple ETFs, guys. So you think about the demand that's going to be coming in for XRP. It's going to be explosive.
As the SEC's out of time to delay these decisions anymore. So, can XRP make you more money than Bitcoin? Yes. Does XRP compare to Bitcoin in like a philosophical decentralization kind of way? No. Can it catch it in price? No. XRP will never catch it in price. But can it catch Bitcoin in market cap? And I think the question to that is actually yes. You guys have to remember what a different world this is going to be in 5 to 10 years from now.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there because he's also talking about market cap. XRP, he's purporting could catch Bitcoin's 2317. Let's call it $2.3 trillion. Okay, and if we see XRP catching Bitcoin in market cap, we would have to see about a 13x for XRP at the current price, guys, of $3.01. If we see XRP go up 13x to catch Bitcoin's market cap, BitBoy is suggesting $39.13 approximately for XRP. And I think that's very doable. I mean, whether it's a spec run, that's still yet to be determined. We would likely have to see some more real-world utility for that to occur. But if you guys want to pick my brain, if you want to ask me some questions, come on down, sign up for the Patreon, patreon.com/WorkingMoneyChannel for more information or at least my insight on this crypto cycle. I also wanted to mention that I do have the Working Money Channel merch store. If you guys are interested in purchasing some Working Money Channel merch, link is in the description of the video. That's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.